It's your favorite nurse, Stephanie, and welcome to Plan Senior Moments. This is the podcast that helps you learn how to keep your parents safe, avoid unnecessary hospitalizations, and support them in aging in place with dignity and confidence. Most of my clients come to me during a time of crisis. Mom's in the hospital, things have changed drastically, and suddenly you're scrambling to come up with a plan of care. But it doesn't have to be that way. With each episode, I'll share real-life stories, expert advice, and practical tips so that you can be proactive, not reactive when it comes to senior care. Let's get started. Hello, and thank you to our listeners for joining today's episode of Plan Senior Moments. Our expert today is Malia Madrid, owner of Consider It Done Seniors. Malia, thank you so much for joining us today. Please tell our audience what you do for our seniors here in the community.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, for having me on. We provide daily money management and administrative services for seniors. And so what that boils down to is basically we go in and we can help open mail, pay bills, deal with the business of life. And, I've helped people fill out insurance forms, get vital records. Today, for example, somebody was trying to get an identity protection PIN for their spouse because the IRS required it for them to file their taxes, and they haven't been able to file them without it. And the process for her to do it, she had to create an email account for her husband. She had to get a link sent to her phone. She had to update his driver's license, the front and the back. And then we had to go with a selfie, and it had to scan and read his face to finish creating the profile. And then it required multi-factor authentication that was sent to her phone. It was a huge process. And so that's the type of stuff that we help seniors deal with today. Living today, it just seems like it's become hard. It's become a business. There's multiple documents that are sent out to people every day, and they're very difficult to read. When they call the companies and ask for clarification, they're told that they're not allowed to give them any advice. And so it can become very frustrating and nerve-wracking for seniors. And so that's what we help with.
Oh, that's incredible. And, a lot of times, like here in our community, Malia, the families that we work with, mom and dad are here, but the adult children are off in other states. They're working, they have children, and these matters are not only frustrating and complex, but they're time consuming. And that's where you guys can jump in. It's my understanding you go to their home, right?
Yes, we're completely mobile. So we do everything at their home. We visit them there. It's a lot easier. That's where their paperwork is. That's where their mail is sent. And a lot of our seniors, it's harder for them to travel, or they don't want to drive. Or, like you said, their children are out of state, and it's just difficult for them to get over there. To really have you, and this, to have your eyes on your loved one makes all the difference in the world. You can call every day and everything will sound like it's okay, but in reality it's not, and you don't know that until you're there. And so that's what I do, is we help provide those eyes for the loved ones, for their power of attorneys. We get them their documentation. We send them what's important. We help keep them from fraud. We help prevent that by being able to cut out some of that junk mail, those spam emails. We're there to help answer.
Coming through right now, and you just click on it and they got you.
I know.
So it's scary stuff, and it's getting worse and worse. So, but you also help with taxes, right? During tax season, you get everything together? Okay.
We go into the home. We can help your loved one get all of their tax documents together if they're having a hard time doing that. And we prepare the taxes there. We have a mobile printer that we can bring with us. And we get it done right in comfort and convenience of their own home.
What does it look like for your clients, Malia? I mean, what is the time frame you're looking at? I'm sure it depends on what they need assistance with, but I mean, can you go visit somebody once a week, once a month? What does it look like for your clients, just so that our listeners kind of understand what's available?
Well, we have a wide variety of what we can offer. And if our services go, some clients, we go twice a week to their home because of what they have going on, and help them with their administrative tasks, daily money management, record keeping, bookkeeping, paying bills. Other people, It's as easy as going once a month to help keep them updated. And then there are some people that call us when they lose their spouse. Maybe they are capable of handling things, but they just don't even know where to start. They're not sure who to call, what to do to get the process going to maybe change the pension or fill out the insurance claim form, or, they don't understand really where their bills are being paid because their loved one handled that.
Right.
And what happens is oftentimes they have that on their credit card being auto paid. And so when they report the death of their spouse, their credit card is locked and no more charges are on there. And so then they're like, well, I didn't pay it, but I don't know where it is. And so those are things that we can help with. And that can be, we can spend maybe a week with them, a few days with them, or a couple of hours just sorting through that. We really tailor it to fit the needs of our clients. We try to help keep seniors independent, and feel like they're in control. And we try to help families, so they know that they have, like I said, a set of eyes, on their loved one, and we can help. If we see something, we can say something.
No, and I love that because, oftentimes, especially in my experience as a nurse working in the homes with clients, they're on the phone with their children and they sound great. Everything is fine. I'm so glad you called. And that's all the children have to go on. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, when we get into the home, we see that things maybe are changing for the worse. It could be maybe not showering as often, unable to clean the home,
Yeah.
still in the same soiled clothes, maybe weight loss because they're
Yes.
forgetting to eat. I mean, tell us some stories. I could go on, and we've even worked with some clients together. So please
Yes.
paint a picture for the families when you go into the home and you have to contact the family because you're concerned.
Well, where do I begin? We shared a mutual client. I was called in by a financial planner that said, I think she's struggling with her paperwork. She calls us, she's a little confused. Can you go and help her? Her son is out of state. According to the son, mom was okay. He talked to her on the phone. Mom sounded okay. But when I showed up, I realized that she was hoarding not only, items around the house, but food. She wasn't preparing it, she was buying it, so she wasn't eating. There was massive weight loss that I saw in just a short period of time, with her. But if you talked to her on the phone and you called her, she sounded okay. She would laugh, she'd giggle, everything was fine. Don't bother yourself with coming over. And then you would come over and you would see what was really going on. And so
Right.
that's why it's really important that you show up and not just call your loved one or your parent, and really see what's happening, because the phone does not do justice. It doesn't paint an entire picture. When somebody hasn't showered in weeks, and, I know that because the shower wasn't working and it wasn't a priority to get it fixed. Those items need to be addressed. So those are some of the things that I've seen, as far as what you should look for with health challenges or health concerns in your loved one. And on the other side, financial fraud. I have a
Right.
client that got scammed out of his entire life savings. His entire estate went to a massage therapist because he willingly gave it to her. He was kind of duped, but the sheriff's department, everyone said, well, take her to court. It's a civil lawsuit you're going to have to file. And he just couldn't do it. And it was very difficult because I spoke to his grandson after we found out that he committed suicide because he felt very trapped by this scam artist and frauded. And the grandson said that he didn't really know what was going on because he talked to him on the phone and it sounded like it was okay.
Right.
And when he said, well, I'll come out there, I'll do, oh, no, 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 don't worry about it. At that time, it was during COVID. And so, the grandson thought, oh, he's fine. And clearly he wasn't. And so those are things we help protect against. It makes a difference when you have somebody that can help. My clients are like, she pays our bills. She does this, call her. And really, they handle everything. They direct me, but they don't have to deal with it. They don't have to deal with fraudsters, scam artists. Other outside people are also made aware that I'm there and that I'm going to question any kind of it billing or, any kind of payment that is made to them to make sure it's in line with what their services were. We just recently, I acquired a new client, and she, her niece called us after she was in the hospital for several weeks. They finally got a hold of her niece, who was her power of attorney. The niece came, and her friend helped move her into a house, was going to be a caretaker, kind of. I don't want to say she was taking advantage of her because I don't know the extent of what she was doing to help or anything, but the niece, was pretty upset about it and kind of had to get rid of her. That type of stuff wouldn't have happened if someone like us was around. And
Right.
so that's what we help with, and that's what we kind of prevent for our clients.
So you're helping your clients and giving the adult children peace of mind. That's such a wonderful thing. And I know we keep touching on the fraud, but it's such a big topic and you've seen it as much as I have. And you're doing some really incredible things here in the state of Arizona. Can you talk about that briefly? Because I want to bring you back on another episode and really do
Okay.
a deep dive into that.
Yes. What I found with my work, I have a small nonprofit, and what I found is that no matter how many complaint forms I fill out against somebody, no matter what I do, it doesn't seem to matter, meaning that it's never criminal in these cases against these people that are frauding our seniors out of their life savings. And so, after looking at the current law in Arizona, we found that the definition of what a vulnerable adult is, should be expanded. It basically, a vulnerable adult is if you're 18 or over, you have a mental defect, or you are physically, physically bedbound and unable to protect yourself. Other than that, it's very, very hard to prove. Now, some people can get an attorney. They have, their estate's worth a lot of money. Their family can fight these scam artists and fraudsters, and they can win. But for a lot of my seniors, they don't have that luxury. All
Right.
of their money was stolen. They can't afford an attorney. They can't, they physically cannot go through a civil lawsuit. So what I propose is that we expand the definition of a vulnerable adult. There's more information on that on my website on maliasmission.org. It's MALEASMISSION.org. And you guys can go on. I created a petition on change.org, and I'm trying to get 100,000 signatures. I just want to bring light to the situation. I've gotten calls from all over the country. It seems like this law is pretty much the same everywhere you go. And like I said, yes, there is some justice some of the time, but there needs to be justice all of the time. This needs to be criminal. So please help us.
That's incredible. I love what you're doing. I signed the petition. I recommend all the viewers, especially if you've had a family member who you've already been through this with, I'm sure there are people listening going, yep, that happened to us to some extent or another, whether it's signing over a car to a caregiver or paying really enormous amounts for services, like 3 to 4 times what they would generally cost through a reputable company. This is really important, and we do have a voice, and we can help mom
Mhm.
and dad. And
Yes.
it does start with signing petitions and getting those laws changed. So, Malia, thank you for all of the work you're doing in that area
Thank
because
you, Stephanie.
it is needed. And unfortunately, families I think, oh, it'll never happen to us. But when it happens to you, it's life
It's
changing.
Yes, it's extremely devastating for most
Yep.
people. I mean, not just financially, but what it does to the person. It's horrible.
Yes, it is. Okay, so we'll bring you back for another episode because we want to
Thank
talk more
you.
about that and learn about that as well, and really talk through some of the other scenarios, like things that we walk into, and when we think mom and dad just need a little bit of help, what we see and how we can get more help into them as well. So, in the
Wonderful.
meantime, Malia, what's the best way for our listeners to contact you if they have questions or if they have a loved one that needs your assistance?
Well, they can, of course, always call our office, 602-671-3623. You can visit our website and reach out there. It's cidseniors.com, or you can email admin, ADMIN, @cidseniors.com.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Malia. What a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Bye.